Recording machine, I'm starting all over. Wipe the slate clean.
Cal Muddy. I'm telling you, I'm liking that sounds. I'm liking that a lot. I'm telling you, we'll talk a little bit about that more with you, Michael, in a minute. Now I'm gonna make you guys really nervous because the guy I brought up in the chair wasn't expected to be up here tonight. He just happened to walk into the building. I said, Danny McKeown. Hey, this is a guy now. He doesn't like to be out in the limelight at all. He kind of stays behind the scenes. But folks, this is one of the best producers of records and music that there is in this area. No ifs, ands, buts about it. He's done so many albums. Guys, you have no idea who's sitting in this chair listening to you play. So not to make you nervous when you go, this is Danny McKeown here.
Mr. McKeown.
Yeah. Mr. McKeown to you, by the way. But Danny, let's go back, because you and I have known each other now for 20 some odd years. Met in the radio days, but you were just, you kind of said, hey, I want to do some radio, and came over and did a little bit of afternoons
Timmy
and
and I
stuff.
worked together at WNRK that was in Newark, Delaware. As a matter of fact, I had just moved to Newark. I remember going out in my backyard and seeing the antennas back there. And I had worked in the radio. I used to be on WCBI up in Connellsville and had done some radio. So I thought, well, I'll go over there and see if I can get a job. So I went over there, and they hired me on the spot because they needed somebody to sit there on the weekends.
Somebody who can work Sundays.
Some board ops, you know? And that's where I met Timmy. And at the time, you were talking about doing cable television. And
right. And you
asked me to get involved. You said, I'd really like to get involved. I said, it's not going to work. What are you talking about? Here it is, 20-some years later, ladies and gentlemen, this guy is like the most notable figure in Delaware.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. But and we've done so many things together. But I want to talk about your career just a little bit, because you always kind of stay back in the background. Let's talk about some of the days. If folks can remember Dancing on Air, Dance Party USA, Danny McKeown was one of the guys behind the scenes at that. But when you go...
Well, I wrote the theme songs for Dancing on Air. I mean,
See, I was just going to say, we have the distinction of having music that you wrote for us for some of our shows early on.
Yeah.
We still have it.
Yeah. And then Dance Party USA, which was a national show, I wrote that theme song. But my job back then was to book all the acts for the show. So what happened was the producer, Mike Nice at the time, was telling me that he was going to do the show. It was kind of like a knockoff of American Bandstand. He said, hey, look, he knew I had the contacts in the record companies. He said, can you book some acts on the show? I said, yeah, and in return, you know what I'd like is a recording studio over in your building at my dispense. Because, back then, nowadays if you have a laptop, you have your own recording studio. But back then, and these guys would tell you, I mean, going into a recording studio is like going to heaven for a musician, So we built a major recording studio. So what I did was, at the time, I had the studio, I used to do all the production music work, and I used to help book the acts in return. But that show, we had unknowns come on the show.
One of them was Madonna.
Madonna.
I couldn't believe that.
17 years old. We had Bon Jovi, 9 Inch Nails. We had Ricky Martin when he was with Menudo. I had Marky Mark, which is Mark Wahlberg. As a matter of fact, one of the acts that I had produced there was a group called Hit the Ground Running that has one of the most sought-after albums on eBay. It goes for anywhere from $800 to $2,000 if you have an original copy.
I do have an original copy you gave me way
you're
back.
rich.
I didn't realize that. You can buy it tomorrow on eBay, though.
And thanks to Bob Gorman, and Bob's a good friend of us. As a matter of fact, if it wasn't for Bob, this wouldn't be possible.
Right.
So Bob Gorman has set me up with this act. And what happened was, back in 1988, we did an album that became like a semi-hit up in Canada. But there's a new movie coming out this coming January 2012 called Ted with Mark Wahlberg. It's produced by Seth MacFarlane, who does The Family Guy. And they contacted me and they said, hey, we really want to use one of the songs from Hit the Ground Running's album. As a matter of fact, they're going to be playing a clip from Dance Party USA when Hit the Ground Running was on there. And they told me the whole scenario is, Ted is this little teddy bear. And Mark Wahlberg, when he's young, he talks to this bear. Now Mark's like 30-some years old, and his teddy bear's still talking to him. But there's a scene where Mark's sitting there watching TV, and the teddy bear's sneaking out of the house, and they're going to have Hit the Ground Running, and the song that we did on this television set. So we're pretty excited
Yeah,
about
well, I
that.
guess so, but you've done so much in your lifetime. One of the reasons I want to bring you up here, because I thank you so much, the acts, because knowing you is the reason that the Emeralds are here tonight. I mean,
Well,
and,
Timmy and I did Around Town, which is basically the show back
Around Town
around
Live.
1996, 97
Yeah, yeah.
time frame, and Tim called me and said, hey, can you get some acts on the show? We had Bobby Rydell.
well, I tell you what,
Rydell, the
you
Delphonics.
stay right there. We're going to talk some more. We're going to
Okay.
get the guys out here, but we
All
got to
right.
take a quick commercial break, and when we get, so I don't want you to go anywhere.
need the
Put your
money.
hands together for Cal Money. Stay with us.
When you make life hard for yourself, you make life hard for everyone around you. And if you constantly ignore your mind and body's health, sickness and pain will surround you.
What's that?